Hey, this is Wolf, still in exile from Armoury-Terrain, but I've managed to carve myself out a little bit of a workspace down in my mum's shed, where she normally does craft, but things got a bit out of control. But we fixed that, and it's crafting area again. Anyway, she's also a very keen gardener, and her gardening hats are just hooked on the edge of a set of shelves at the moment. And before you ask, yes, Yuki is here as well. Say hello, Yuki. Hello. Yeah. As you can see, my mum's gardening hats are currently just hung on the corner of a set of shelving, but they're a little bit too high for her. So I have made up this timber piece, if I widen this out again, this timber piece, which has two dome head screws on it, which will slot into the upright of that shelf and lock on. Now this would work just as it is, but this is me we're talking about. Also, my mum loves fairies, so I was requested to be able to add this fairy to it somewhere. So I've decided I'm going to build it up as a tree trunk and branch with cardboard, just normal brown corrugated cardboard. This one's from a Pepsi Max box, but it could be any sort of box cardboard. So yeah, it can be any sort of cardboard. This is the frame I'm making. So the idea is I'm going to cut a whole bunch of cardboard templates or ribs and glue them down along the length and round out the branch. Also going to put a knot here for the fairy to sit in, and then it's going to get covered with paper mache. So I'm going to cut out all these bits of cardboard with just a box cutter, and once I've hot glued them on, I'll show you the results before the paper mache. Well, that was fun. I now have a hook that's got cardboard superstructure glued onto it. Superstructure? Ribs. Let's just call them ribs. And at the moment, the fairy will fit in there well enough. So now what I have to do is glue tissues onto it. I haven't yet decided what I'm doing with this branch. Obviously it's going to be more rounded, but I'm not sure how much cardboard I'm adding. So all I'm doing now is with normal tissues, I've mixed up some watered down PVA glue. It's about 1/3 glue, 2/3 water. And I'll paint that onto the cardboard, drape tissues over it, and repeat until I've got something that looks about right. Once I think it looks about right, I'll grab out a hairdryer and dry it out so it's solid. And once it's solid, it's ready for painting, but I'll show you how it looks before I paint it. After half an hour or so of gluing tissues on, and another 20 minutes of hitting it with the dryer, I have this. It's starting to look a bit more branch-like, I feel. And I've decided for usability, I'm going to leave the end of the branch just timber and paint it, so nothing can get broken off it as the hats come on and off. So yeah, it's at this stage. It's touch dry. Like, there's still some moisture in it, but once I put some dark brown paint on it and heat that up to dry it as well, it should pretty much be fully set. And then I'll start dry brushing highlights onto it. And once it's actually each stage of painting, I'll stop and show you how it looks. So let's make this go brown. Okay, it's now brown. And it looks alright. You know, nothing special yet. What type of brown? It's just labelled as brown. No colour on it, or no specific colour. What I'm now going to do is use some of this Pro Paint Raw Sienna to dry brush some details onto it, as well as to lighten up the hollow and to paint the two sawn ends, so I can then put ring marks on it. So I'm going to do all of that and then show you the finished piece with the fairy glued in. Right, it's now got a little bit of dry brushing on it. It also has wood grain drawn into the bottom and into the top. And most importantly, it's got the little fairy glued in there. So this can now hang on the set of shelves, and my mum can hang all the gardening hats on the top and be able to reach them. So this was me working outside my workshop without all my tools, and sum total of what I used for this build was a box cutter, one brush for both the paper mache and the painting, hot glue gun, watered down PVA glue. In addition to that, I used some tissues and a bit of cardboard off a box. Yes, the wooden frame was made up in my dad's workshop with his power tools, but you can get around that. Just shows that you don't have to have all the big expensive tools to be able to make something. So if you can, guys, go out and make something.